Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Salifun Bosman. I'm from Ghana. I'm a teacher and I'm in Japan as a research student. Basically, it's a teacher's training program by MEST. I'm a research student at Hokkaido University of Education, Odate, and under the supervision of Matthew Sensei. Today I'm here to present on a topic on science about improvisation of instructional materials, about the nature of instructional materials in Ghana, and possibly the whole of Africa is the same. We have the same situation everywhere in Africa, whereby we have limited science resources in terms of teaching and learning of science. So the topic for discussion is improvisation of instructional materials in the teaching and learning of science at the basic education level in Ghana. So the key words we are going to look for are improvisation, instructional materials, science, basic education, and Ghana. So basically, this is the educational system in Ghana. So at the age of 2, you start from kindergarten. Kindergarten education starts at the age of 2 and is for at the age of 4 and is for 2 years. So you start when you are 4 years, they send you to kindergarten, then you study for 2 years. Then from there you move to the primary school for 6 years. So when you are age 6, then you start primary education, so for 6 years. So at the age of 12, then you move to the junior high school where you have to spend 3 years. So at the end of the junior high school, you are promoted to the senior high school based on an examination you write for the whole nation. We call it the BEC, Basic Education Certificate Examination, before which will qualify you to go to the senior high school. So the senior high school, you have to spend 3 years at the senior high school, and at the end of the 3 years, the whole of West Africa countries will have to write WASI, West Africa Secondary School Certificate Examination, which will qualify you to go to the colleges. The colleges, we have colleges of agriculture, colleges of education, which train teachers, and we have the colleges of health sciences, which trains health personnel, nurses, to go into the health sector. Then you can also move to the polytechnics now, which have been they now rename them as chemical universities, but there are some that are still not qualified to be promoted as a university. So that is still why we still have the name polytechnics. But those that are qualified, they are now promoted as chemical universities. They don't call them polytechnics anymore. Then we also have the various universities in Ghana where you can do degree programs, masters and PhD and postdoc. Now, from this level, 1, 2, 3, currently we call them basic education, and it's free and compulsory for everyone. Every child in Ghana is free and compulsory. Now, senior high school, we call them high school or second cycle institutions. Then the colleges, polytechnics, universities, we call them tertiary education. But soon they will be introducing a new curriculum. Under the new curriculum, from kindergarten to senior high school will be called basic education, and it will be free and compulsory for everybody. So that is the new changes that will come, not now, but currently we are running this particular education system. Now, this is the school that I teach science and computer science. So it's called TI Ahmadiyya Junior High School. So the TI is Talimul Islam, mean the teachers and knowledge of Islam. So the Ahmadiyya is also basically an Arabic word which means the followers of Ahmad. So junior high school. Now this school we are running 2 systems. We have the mix, boys and girls, and we also have only the girls alone. So this class is a class, we have what? Girls alone. And this is a teacher trainee from NJ College of Education doing her practice in the girls' school. So this is Africa map, and the red place over there, that is Ghana. So the whole of this region is West Africa. So this is Ghana, my country, and this is WA. So that is where you can get T.I. Ahmadiyya Junior High School. Now, introduction. Science, we all know, is much of a practical base than theoretical. So science utilizes what? The scientific method in teaching and learning. So what is the scientific method? So the scientific methods, we have first the identification of the problem at hand. When the problem is being identified, then you define the problem. What is the nature of the problem? You talk of what, how, and when. The occurrence of the problem. Then after which, then you move to what? Doing research on the problem. So you have the research problem. Then after the research problem has been identified, then there is a formulation of hypothesis. You have to draw possible hypothesis. What will happen at the end of what? My research. Then after which you talk of what? Experimenting those hypotheses. Those expectations you are expecting at the end of the experiment, then you have to put them at the end of the research, then you have to put them through what? An experimentation stage. You have to experiment them to see will what you are thinking, will it be a reality? Then you have to think of that. Then when you after finish experimenting the hypothesis, then you analyze the results of the experimental process and you draw your conclusion. When you draw your conclusion, you have to implement and publish what? The findings. So basically, that is the how the scientific process is being run in terms of teaching and learning. Now, we want to know what improvisation is. So improvisation in a science lesson, we said, is the method of creating instructional materials using local resources by the teacher or students in a situation where those materials are expensive or unavailable to enhance teaching and learning. So we have a situation in Africa, the whole of Africa, Ghana to be precise, whereby what you need to use in teaching, the teaching instructional materials, the teaching materials, they are very expensive, or even when you have money, but sometimes you cannot even get them to buy. So we don't have them, or they are very, very expensive. So even common textbooks, we don't have textbooks to teach the students. If you go to certain schools, it's only one textbook, and it's the teacher that is using the textbook instead of the students. So that is the situation we have. And because of that, our curriculum has given room for what? Teachers and students to be able to improvise, to use local resources, to make those teaching materials that are easy to be made and use them in the process of teaching and learning. So that is the meaning of improvisation. Now, purpose. The main purpose of this study is to analyze those instructional materials that can be improvised in the teaching and learning of science at the basic education level in Ghana. Methodology. How was this research conducted? It was conducted based on what? The construction and analysis of instructional materials by the teacher and the students. Factors to consider when you want to improvise. These are the factors you have to consider when you are improvising, when you are trying to create instructional materials. First, we said that you have to consider the topic of the study, the topic that you are going to teach inside the classroom with the students. You have to consider the topic, the nature of it, and you have to talk of what? The aims and goals. Those are the objectives. What are the aims and goals of what? The topic you are going to teach. You have to consider that before you can think of what you are going to improvise. Then secondly, we said that you have to think of what? The learner's previous knowledge. Before the student comes into the class, he or she already have some knowledge. Okay, for example, if you want to teach digestion, the student already they eat food, and at the end of the day, they go to the toilet. And they know that it's the food that they eat that they go to the toilet to shit. So they have some knowledge before coming to the classroom. So when you want to improvise, you have to think of that knowledge they are bringing in before you start to improvise. Then thirdly, we said you have to think of the cost and nature of the materials. Definitely, you have to think of your packet. Will you be able to bear the cost of what? The materials. And you also think of the nature of the materials. You have to use, which one will I use so that the thing I'm going to create will last forever. So you think of that. Now we also talk of principles to improvisation. Principles to improvisation. There should be some guidance that will guide you to be able to improvise things appropriately. So we talk of one, appropriateness of teaching aids to the age of the learner. If you want to improvise for someone in grade 1, elementary school grade 1, it will be different from improvising for somebody in what? Elementary school grade 6. So the age difference, you have to think of that. What the 12-year child can handle, the 6-year child cannot handle that. So you have to think of what? The age of the student before you improvise. Thirdly, we said that it should be interesting to the learners, durable and improvisable. First, what you are going to improvise, the learner should have an interest in it. It should create the attention of the learner, making their interest greater in what you are trying to improvise. Secondly, we also say that it should be durable. This thing should be able to stand the test of time so that you can use it over and over again without recreating. Then we also say that it should be easily constructable. You should be able to construct it easily without difficulty. Then last but not least on that, we said that its clarity, it should be clear to the understanding of the learner. It should be adequate in illustration. When you want to illustrate, there should be what? Some adequacy in illustration process. Then we also say that relevance and simplification of concepts. What the idea you want to carry forward or you want to impact, there should be what? Some relevance in what you are trying to create, the knowledge you are trying to impact, in respect to what you want to use in teaching. That is what? The teaching and learning material you are creating. Then it should also have what? A simple concept. The child should not be going through difficulty in trying to understand what you are using. Now, impact of improvisation. Reduce cost. It increases innovation. Interesting learning process. Also make what? Available instructional materials. Results. So we try to create some of the things that we can improvise. So this is a material made of cardboard and some torn clothes and beads. And this is what? The digestive system of a human being who can be used in teaching grade 6 in elementary school and grade 2 of junior high school. So when you look at our syllabus, you can use this particular teaching material to teach both in grade 6 in elementary school and grade 2 of what? Junior high school. So we also have here an illustration of a flower plant made of what? Flower model made of plastic, piece of wood and paint. So this one, you can also use it in teaching parts of the flower plant, and you can use it in grade 5 of elementary school and in grade 1 of junior high school. So we also have here a clock, wall clock, which is made of what? Cardboard, using different colors and glue. And this can be used in teaching mathematics at elementary school in grade 3, used to teach measurement of time in science at junior high school in grade 1. we also have here a wash bottle made of what? Out of a PET bottle and a straw. So when you want to teach laboratory equipment, is an example you can use to do what? Teach laboratory equipment in grade 1 of junior high school. Now, discussion. We said that there should be, now we want to what? Devise some policies or suggest some meaningful ideas to what government. So we said that there should be a new course on improvisation for teacher training program at the various teacher training institutions across the nation. 2, in-service training on improvisation should be what? Conducted to engage teachers on the topic of instructional materials. We also say that recruiting teachers should be based on their practical skills and not on their certificate. We also say that educational resources should be made available to all schools in the country. Now, we also say that the government should provide an awarding scheme that will award teachers based on what? Improvisation and complete utilization of instructional materials. Now, the government should also engage NGOs, non-governmental organizations, should also come in and help in the provision of what? Instructional materials to curb the issue of what? Unavailability of these materials in our various schools. So, the inclusive use of instructional materials is of paramount importance. The case where instructional materials are limited or unavailable, both teachers and students should be able to improvise to what? Erase the problem of what? Unavailability, to ease what? Using local resources to be able to enhance teaching and learning. So these are a few of my references. Arigatou gozaimasu.